The stars moved quietly above as the small silver shuttle glided through space. Inside, Eli Warren, a human engineer from Earth, sat near the window, looked down at the glowing planet below. Its name was Valari Prime, home of the proud and ancient Valari people. Eli had never left the solar system before. Now he was chosen as one of the first humans to visit this alien world for a peace and trade mission. He wore a clean navy blue uniform, his boots polished, and a tablet in his lap. His job was to offer help with energy systems and learn about Valari technology. But in truth, he felt nervous. He wasn't a soldier, he wasn't a politician. He was just a smart mechanic who knew how to fix things. The shuttle touched down, slowly on a long golden platform surrounded by tall white towers. A group of Valari guards waited at the landing area. They wore long silver robes and stood perfectly still like statues. "Here we go," Eli whispered to himself, standing up and straightening his collar. As the doors opened, warm golden light from Valari Prime's twin suns poured inside. Eli stepped out slowly, feeling the strange gravity pull at his legs. A soft breeze carried the scent of alien flowers and something sweet he couldn't name. Drums began to play. From the palace entrance came the royal procession, higher-ranking nobles in glowing outfits, tall guards holding banners, and finally, walking with grace and pride, Princess Lysera. She was taller than any human woman Eli had ever seen. Her skin shimmered like polished marble mixed with soft gold, and her long hair flowed like liquid silver down her back. Her eyes were large, glowing softly, with strange shapes dancing inside them. She wore a flowing white and violet dress, with golden threads that sparkled in the sunlight. Everyone bowed as she approached. Eli followed, unsure how deep to bow. His heart pounded. Then something unexpected happened. The music stopped. Princess Lysera looked straight at Eli, walked toward him, and stood just a few steps away. She tilted her head slightly, studying him. Then, in a calm and clear voice, she asked, "Are you married or single, human?" Silence. Complete silence. Eli blinked. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. All around him, nobles gasped. Some even whispered behind fans and masks. Eli looked around, confused. He didn't know what to say. Was this a joke? A test? I'm single, he finally said, his voice cracking slightly. The princess smiled. "Good," she said. Then she turned and walked back toward the palace without another word. Eli stood frozen, his heart racing. What had just happened? Later, inside the palace, Eli was shown to his guest quarters. The room was large, with smooth crystal walls and soft glowing lights that changed color with his mood. The bed looked more like a floating cloud. She sat down, his hands shaking slightly. There was a soft knock. A young female servant entered with a tray of food. "Sir Human," she said politely, "the princess wishes to meet with you privately in the Sky Garden at moonrise." "Me?" Eli asked, pointing at himself. "Yes, only you," she replied. Eli nodded slowly. "All right." The Sky Garden was at the top of the tallest tower. The moon of Valari Prime hung low in the sky, glowing blue and bright. The garden was full of strange plant flowers that sang softly, vines that curled around the air, and glowing pools of water. Princess Lysera stood by a tree with silver leaves. She turned as Eli entered. "You came?" she said softly. Yes," he replied, unsure how to speak to royalty. "I didn't really have a choice." Lysera laughed lightly. "True, but I hoped you would not run away." "I almost did," Eli joked nervously. "Everyone looked shocked when you asked that question earlier." "I know," she said, stepping closer. "That question is not asked lightly on my world." "Then why ask me?" Eli asked. The princess looked up at the stars. "I have studied humans for years. Quietly, your kind is full of strange strength. You bend, but do not break. You feel deeply, but still move forward. We Valari, we are powerful, yes, but we are growing stiff.
Told my people need something new.
And I believe it starts with someone like you." Eli looked at her, surprised. But I'm not special. I'm just a systems engineer. 2 humans, maybe, she said. But to me, you are the first honest soul I've seen in a long time. Eli didn't know what to say. Walk with me, she said. They walked slowly through the glowing garden. She told him about her world, her people, and how she often felt trapped by rules and traditions. She spoke about the threats and the star's ancient enemies returning, and how she wanted to prepare, but the old council refused to listen. I can't do it alone, she said. I need help, not just soldiers or ships. I need someone who sees things differently. Eli paused. And you think that's me? Nodded. But I don't even know how to. I will teach you our ways, she said gently, and you will teach us yours. Together. Eli looked at her again. She wasn't just beautiful. She was determined, strong, lonely. He finally smiled. All right, princess, let's try it. She smiled back. Then it begins. Eli woke up early the next morning. The alien bed was soft like clouds, but he had not slept much. His mind kept thinking about the princess and her strange question. Why did she choose me? He asked himself again and again. Outside his window, Valari Prime was waking up. Twin suns rose slowly, turning the sky orange and purple. Birds with crystal wings flew in patterns above the tall towers. The city was peaceful, but something felt strange under the surface. There was a soft chime. At the door, a tall male servant entered holding a folded robe. Honored guest, the servant said. You are invited to attend the Circle of Learning this morning with Princess Lysera. Please wear this. Eli looked at the robe. It was light blue with golden lines, soft and warm to the touch. He changed quickly, then followed the servant through long halls filled with glowing art and floating lights. The Circle of Learning was a wide, open space at the center of the palace. White pillars surrounded a circular platform made of smooth glass. Strange books floated in the air. Symbols moved across the floor like dancing lights. Princess Lysera was already there. She smiled as Eli walked in. You look well, she said kindly. I still feel out of place, he admitted. You are out of place, she said, laughing softly. But that is why you are important. Around them, many young Valari nobles stood watching. Some whispered. Others frowned. One tall noble with sharp eyes stepped forward. This is the human you chose? He asked Lysera. Yes, she replied calmly. He is small, the noble said. Soft. How can he help our people? Lysera's voice became sharper. Do not mistake softness for weakness. He has already done more than many who sit on velvet chairs and give orders. The noble stepped back, clearly insulted. But he said nothing more. Eli looked around. Is it always like this? Lysera nodded. Court is full of eyes. Some watch with hope, others with hate. After the lessons, Eli sat with Lysera in a quiet room lined with glowing plants. She handed him a small device. What is this? He asked. A memory shard, she said. It holds the history of Valari customs, especially those about bonding. Eli raised an eyebrow. Bonding, like marriage. She nodded. In our world, she explained, when a princess shows public interest in a mate, it is taken seriously. That's why the nobles reacted with shock when I asked you that question. So, are we engaged now? Eli asked, half joking. Not yet, she replied with a smile. But they think we are, and that is what matters for now. Eli sat quietly for a moment. Won't this cause problems for you? It already has, Lysera said. But I've grown tired of doing what they expect. I want change. And if that change starts with one brave human, then so be it. That evening, Lysera took Eli to a hidden chamber below the palace. The walls were old, cracked, and covered in strange markings. This place is not part of the official tour, she whispered. What is it? He asked. My real work, she said. Come inside the chamber were old machines, dusty consoles, and long tables covered with blueprints and parts. Several Valari engineers were working quietly. Eli's eyes widened. Are these weapons? Yes, Lysera said. How kingdom is in danger, but the queen refuses to believe the warnings. She says peace will hold. I am not so sure, Eli. Walk to a broken energy core. What do you want me to do? Help us fix this, she said. Your mind sees what ours do not. Our systems are old, too perfect. They don't bend when something breaks. But human minds, you find another way. Eli knelt beside the machine. He touched the broken panel, then looked at the tools. You don't have proper grounding here, he said. We know, one Valari engineer replied, but we could not solve it. I think I can, Eli said with a small smile. As the days passed, Eli spent more time in the secret chamber. He taught the Valari engineers how to reroute power, how to build flexible systems, and how to repair things quickly. The team began to grow. Even some skeptical nobles started visiting, curious. At the same time, Lysera continued her royal duties. She acted calm in court, but behind closed doors, she worked hard to prepare her people for what was coming. But not everyone supported her. One evening, a message came through a glowing stone on the wall. It was from the queen. Bring the human to the throne room. Now, Eli followed Lysera in silence. The throne room was huge, with tall pillars and a glowing throne made from crystal and gold. Queen Arantha sat like a statue, her eyes cold. Nobles stood in rows. The same noble who insulted Eli before stood with them, smirking. Princess Lysera, the queen said, you were warned. Yet you continue to lead unauthorized work beneath my palace. I prepare for war, Lysera said. You prepare for nothing. A whisper moved through the court. And this human? The queen asked. Is he part of your rebellion? No, Lysera said proudly. He is part of our survival. He is a stranger, the queen said sharply. A nobody. Lysera stepped forward. Then hear me clearly. I will no longer hide. I will no longer bow to comfort while danger grows. If you wish to punish me, then do it. The queen stared at her daughter for a long moment. Then she looked. At Eli, she said coldly. What do you know of our world? Not much, Eli replied. But I know how to fix what's broken. I can see your world is cracking. If I can help, then I will. The queen rose from her throne. Her robe glowed with power. Very well, she said. You may continue your work. For now. But if you bring shame to this palace, you will not walk out again. Later that night, Eli sat with Lysera in the garden. Why didn't she stop us? He asked. She knows we are right, Lysera said. She just won't say it. Doesn't like me, Eli added. Lysera laughed. She doesn't like anyone, but maybe she'll learn one day. Eli looked at her carefully. Are you sure about all this? I've never been more sure, she said. Then she looked up at the stars. A storm is coming, she whispered. And when it arrives, the galaxy will see who truly stands strong. Eli stood on the edge of the palace balcony. From high above, the glowing city of Velari Prime stretched out like a dream. Floating bridges connected towers, lights moved like rivers in the sky. Everything looked peaceful. But Eli knew it was just the calm before the storm. For the past few days, he had worked non-stop in the hidden chamber under the palace with Lysera and her secret team. Together, they repaired old weapons, upgraded defense systems, and tested warning sensors that had been silent for years. Valari technology was beautiful, but slow to change. Their systems were advanced, but their minds were tied to old traditions. That's where Eli came in. He showed them how humans fixed things fast, how to create backups, how to adapt. Still, something troubled him. Deep inside, he felt they were running out of time. That night in the secret chamber, Lysera called everyone for a meeting. The lights dimmed. She placed a small silver cube on the table. It glowed and projected a star map in the air. This message arrived today from our outpost near the dark edge of the Orion Stream, she said. It was the last message before all contact was lost. The image zoomed in. A video played. Dark and full of static. A Valari soldier screamed, "They're coming!" The swarm so many ships, then the screen went black. Eli frowned. The Zarkith? Lysera nodded. Yes, they're back. The Zarkith were not just enemies. They were monsters. A hive-like species that traveled in huge numbers, destroying everything in their path. Long ago, the Volari fought them and barely survived. Now, it seemed the Zarkith were returning to finish the job. A silence fell over the chamber. One young Volari engineer whispered, "Why hasn't the Queen declared war?" Lysera replied, "Because she still believes they will not come here. That if we stay quiet, they will pass us by." Eli looked around. "So, what do we do?" Lysera's eyes were full of fire. "We prepare to fight with or without the Queen's blessing." The next morning, Eli was summoned to the royal hangar. He was surprised to see a huge ship floating silently in the air. It was shaped like a winged crescent, silver and smooth, with ancient symbols along its sides. "This is Skyblade 1, Lysera said, appearing beside him. "It was once the pride of our fleet, but it hasn't flown in over 30 years. Eli walked around it, whistling softly. "It's beautiful and big. It needs work," Lysera said. "A lot of work." He smiled. "That's my specialty." Over the next 2 days, Eli and a team of engineers worked to bring the ship back to life. They changed power cells, fixed wiring, added new controls, and connected human-built tracking. Systems.Eli also trained Volari pilots on fast emergency maneuvers. Human ships, he explained, relied on quick thinking. Volari ships were more graceful, but slower to respond. "You must learn to fly like a human," he said to the pilots. "Because the Zarkith don't wait for beauty. They strike fast." But trouble was coming from more than just space. One evening, Eli found himself walking alone near the outer gardens when a voice called from the shadows. "Human." He turned quickly. "Oh." A tall noble stepped forward. It was Lord Velner, the same. One who had insulted him earlier. "What do you want?" Eli asked. Velnor stepped closer. "You are poisoning the princess's mind with human ideas. She was meant to marry a Volari. She was meant to rule our people with tradition." Eli stayed calm. "She's trying to protect your world." Velner's eyes glowed cold. "She is leading it to ruin." Before Eli could reply, guards arrived. Velner stepped back into the darkness. His message delivered, Eli reported the conversation to Lysera. "He's planning something," he warned. "I know," she said. "He's not alone." That night, everything changed. A deep alarm echoed through the palace. Red lights flashed. Everyone ran to windows and control stations. From above the city, a giant screen appeared in the sky, projected by the palace's defense towers. It showed a terrifying sight. A massive swarm of Zarkith ships was moving through space. Thousands of black insect-like vessels. They moved like a living wave. Volari scouts had spotted them, and they were heading straight for Volari Prime. "They're 2 days away," Lysera said quietly. Eli's heart pounded. "Do we have enough?" "Time, barely," she said. The Queen called a meeting that same night. All nobles gathered in the throne room. Eli and Lysera stood together. Queen Erantha's face was tight with worry. "We have no choice now. We must fight." Some nobles looked terrified. Others nodded. Velnor stepped forward. "Still do not trust this human. Why should we let him lead anything?" Lysera replied calmly, "Because he already has. And he saved your lives before you even believed danger was real." Eli stepped up. "I don't want power. I want to help. Let us fight together." The Queen looked around the room. She saw fear. She saw courage. And finally she said, "Very well. Princess Lysera will command Skyblade 1. Eli Warren will be her chief advisor." Gasps filled the hall. Velnor stormed out. The next 2 days passed in a blur. Ships flew into position. Weapons were activated. Shields were tested again and again. Eli barely slept. He worked with Lysera, guiding ship designs, teaching emergency systems, and planning defense strategies. He also had quiet moments with Lysera, brief but meaningful. They sat under the stars once more. "You didn't have to stay," she said. Softly, I know, he replied. But I wanted to. Are you afraid? She asked. Yes, he admitted. Yes. But I'd rather be afraid next to you than safe somewhere far away. She touched his hand gently. The stars above shimmered, but in the distance, a dark shadow grew larger. The suns of Valari Prime rose slowly, casting golden light across the towers and floating gardens. But this time, the beauty could not hide the fear. Everyone knew war was coming. The Zarkith swarm was less than 1 day away. Inside the royal hangar, Skyblade 1 floated like a sleeping giant. Valari engineers rushed to finish the final systems. Weapons were online. Shields were stable. The engines now hummed with new energy. Eli stood near the control station, wiping sweat from his forehead. His hands were covered in grease, but his heart was calm. He had done everything he could. Now it was time to fight. Princess Lysera walked up beside him, wearing a dark, violet battle robe. Her golden crown was gone, replaced by a simple silver band across her forehead. You've done well, she said softly. So have you, Eli replied. She looked out at the massive hangar doors. Today, the Valari fly as one, and beside us, a human. Eli smiled just a little. Let's hope we survive long enough to celebrate. In the main palace, Queen Arantha gave one final address to her people. Her voice echoed through the halls and city. Citizens of Valari, she said. The darkness comes again, but we are not alone. We stand with those who believe in unity. We stand with those who act, not those who only speak. Today, we fight not just for survival, for the future of all worlds. Across the city, lights turned blue, a Valari symbol of courage. Families hugged one another. Soldiers stepped into their ships. Civilians moved to underground shelters. Everyone was ready as they could be. Inside Skyblade 1, the crew gathered in the command room. Eli stood beside Lysera, looking at the Valari officers. You've trained well, Eli said, but the Zarkith are fast, and they don't fear death. Yes. That's their strength. But our SARS is heart and mind. Lysera stepped forward. We don't just fight for ourselves. We fight for every quiet voice, for every child in the stars, for every world that cannot stand alone. Show them that light still burns in this galaxy. The crew saluted. The ship hummed louder. Then the hangar doors opened. Skyblade 1 rose into the sky. Above the planet, the Valari fleet moved into formation. Dozens of ships, big and small, joined Skyblade, one in a protective wall around Valari Prime, and then they came. Like a shadow covering the stars, the Zarkith fleet appeared. Thousands of ships, insect-shaped, black and cold.
Ow.
Their engines made no sound. Their weapons glowed red. The battle had begun. Eli sat beside the main console, reading signals and giving quick updates. Zarkith, ships approaching fast from the left, he called. Shield Group C, shift position. The Valari pilots moved. With more speed than ever before. They had trained hard under Eli's guidance. And now, they fought like a single living system. Laser blasts filled the sky. Explosions shook space. Screams echoed through the coms. Skyblade 1 fired powerful energy beams, cutting through enemy ships. Its new engines allowed it to move faster than any Valari ship had before, but the swarm kept coming. In the middle of the battle, Queen Arantha's ship was hit. Smoke filled her control room. Signals went dark. Eli turned to Lysera. We have to help her. She would say no, Lysera replied. But she's still my mother. They changed course. Skyblade 1 dove through enemy fire, shields flashing. They reached the Queen's ship just in time. Lysera and a team of guards boarded it. Side, they found the Queen, injured but alive. You shouldn't be here, the Queen said weakly. You trained me to protect my people, Lysera said. That includes you. They carried her back to Skyblade 1. Medical bots began treatment. Eli met them at the door. The swarm's changing direction, he warned. They're targeting our central tower. That tower holds our defense. Cora Lysera said. If they destroy it, the city will fall. Eli made a fast decision. We need to split their attention. Saya looked at him. You have a plan? Yes, he said. I'll take a small team in one of the fast shuttles. I'll lead a fake attack on their main command ship. They'll turn toward us. No, she said quickly. It's too dangerous. I know, he replied. But I have to do it. She looked into his eyes. God, you're not just an engineer. Any more, are you? No, Eli said. And I'm not just your guest either. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Lysera reached out and touched his hand. Come back to me. Shh, she whispered. I will, he promised. Eli launched in the small shuttle, flying fast and low. 3 Valari fighters followed him. Together they flew straight into the heart of the Zarkith swarm. Lasers and missiles flew around them. One of the fighters exploded. Another took damage but stayed close. Eli pressed buttons, sending false signals to look like a full fleet. He boosted power, creating a bright energy wave. The Zarkith noticed. Their command ships turned sharply. Moving toward Eli's group. It's working, he whispered. Now get ready, Lysera. Back near Valari Prime. Skyblade 1 turned. All weapons toward the new weak spot in the swarm. The defense core powered up. Fire, Lysera shouted. A massive energy beam shot into the Zarkith line. It cut through dozens of ships at once. The wave of destruction opened a path. More Valari ships followed, striking with everything they had. The Zarkith began to fall back. One by one, ships turned and jumped away into deep space. The swarm was breaking, the sky cleared, the battle was won. Hours later, Valari Prime was quiet again. Fires had been put out. Ships returned to hangars. Medical centers worked day and night. Skyblade 1 landed slowly. Lysera waited at the ramp, eyes searching the sky. Then a small shuttle appeared scarred. Smoking but still flying, it landed hard. The door opened. Eli stepped out, limping, covered in dust and smoke. She ran to him. I told you I'd come back, he said, smiling weakly. You're late, she said, pulling him into a hug. I had to make a few stops, he joked. Later, that night, in the garden under the stars, Lysera sat beside Eli. The city lights twinkled below. The nobles are quiet now, she said. Ill? No one questions you anymore. I'm not used to that, Eli said, laughing. You've changed our world, she whispered. He looked at her. You changed mine first. She leaned closer. Oh. Do you remember what I asked you the day we met? He smiled. How could I? Forget. She took his hand. This time, I asked not for tradition, but for truth. Are you still single, human? Eli laughed. Not anymore. The city of Valari Prime healed slowly after the battle. Smoke no longer filled the skies. The sound of war was replaced by gentle music, laughter, and the hum of rebuilding machines. The people of Valari had survived, thanks to their princess Sand. A human Eli Warren stood on a balcony overlooking the city. He wore a new robe gifted by the queen herself. It was dark blue with silver edges, a symbol of respect. But he didn't care about clothes. His thoughts were somewhere else. Behind him, Princess Lysera stepped onto the balcony. You're awake early, she said with a smile. I couldn't sleep, Eli replied. Too many memories, she nodded. The battle changed all of us. He looked at her gently. I'm glad we made it. She stepped closer. We made it because of you. Eli shook his head. Because of us. They stood side by side looking. Out at the bright sky later that day, a great ceremony was held in the grand hall. The tall glass ceiling allowed sunlight to pour in. Nobles, soldiers, workers, and citizens filled the hall. Blue and gold banners hung from every wall. Queen Arantha stood at the center, her long robe flowing behind her.
Ow.
Her injuries had healed. But her face looked older, tired from the weight of war. She raised her hands. My people, she said loudly, we stood at the edge of destruction, but we did not fall. We rose, we fought, and we are still here. Cheers filled the hall, she continued. Our survival came not just from strength, but from unity, from those who dared to speak truth. Even when we did not listen, she looked toward Eli. Eli Warren of Earth, she said, step forward. Eli walked through the silent crowd, stopping in front of the queen. You are not Valari, she said. Yet you stood with us. You taught us. You bled for us. For that, I name you star-bonded friend of the crown. Gasps of surprise filled the room. It was a high title, never before given to an outsider. The queen handed him a small silver, star-shaped pin. He bowed. Thank you, your majesty, Eli said quietly. Then she smiled, just a little. You may rise. Future soon-in-law. The hall went completely silent. That evening, Eli sat under the sky with Lysera. He held the star pin in his hands, turning it slowly. Son-in-law, he whispered. Is that really happening? Lysera smiled. Not afraid, are you? A little, he admitted, but not of you, just of what comes next. She leaned her head on his shoulder. We don't have to rush. The galaxy is wide, and time is long. He looked at her. Do you think your people will accept me? They already have, she said. You earned it. But I'm not a warrior, he said. No, she replied. You're something better. You fix things. You care. You fight only when needed. That's rare. And I chose you because of it. Eli smiled. I still remember the first thing you ever said to me. She laughed. Are you married or single, human? Yes, he said, laughing with her. I thought it was a joke. She turned serious. It wasn't. I saw something in your eyes. I trusted that feeling. Over the next few weeks, Eli worked with Valari scientists and engineers. They shared knowledge with Earth and other friendly worlds. New trade routes were planned. Human and Valari schools exchanged students. It was the beginning of something. Knew a peaceful alliance between two very different worlds. Lysera began traveling across Valari Prime, meeting her people. They welcomed her with songs and gifts. Many wept when they saw her, grateful for her courage during the war, and she never traveled alone. Eli was always beside her. Together, they stood as a symbol of unity. A living answer to an ancient question. Can two worlds truly come together? One evening, a small ship from Earth arrived. It carried Eli's younger sister, Samantha. Why? She stepped out, her eyes wide. Wow, she whispered. This place is like something out of a dream. Eli hugged her tightly. I missed you, he said. I missed you too, she replied. Mom and Dad are proud. They told the whole neighborhood, he laughed. Of course they did. Samantha looked at Lysera, who approached with her calm. Royal Grace. You must be the princess, she said nervously. I am Lysera, the princess said with a warm smile. And you must be the brave sister I heard about, Samantha blinked. Me? I'm not brave. Lysera gently touched her shoulder. You let your brother fly across the stars? That takes strength. Later, Eli showed Samantha the garden where he and Lysera first spoke alone. This is where it all began, he said. You mean where she asked that weird question? She teased. He laughed. Yes, that one question changed everything. Samantha looked at him. Are you happy? He nodded. More than I ever thought possible. Then she smiled. Then I'm happy too. A few weeks later, the Queen made a public announcement. On the next full moon, she said, Princess Lysera will take her place as crown leader of the future council. And beside her will stand the human who fought not with power, but with purpose. The people cheered all across. Valari Prime, lights turned, gold a sign of hope. The night before the ceremony, Eli and Lysera stood together in the sky garden. Stars shone above. Soft music floated in the air. You've come far, Eli, Lysera whispered. I followed you, he replied. No, she said, touching his face gently. You walked beside me. They looked into each other's eyes. Are you ready? Asked. He nodded. Only if you're with me. Always, she said. And then under the light of twin moons, they shared a kiss, not just as princess and guest, but as two souls who had crossed stars to find each other.